Hi there everyone, welcome back to my garden. My name's Diane and I garden here in the northeast of England, right on the coast. And today I'm going to be working on this beautiful Spirea and I'm going to be pruning him back really hard. I'm going to be taking him almost right down to the ground. Right, so I'm going to start by showing you the Spirea, which is that one there, and the Weigelia there from this angle, because when I'm looking down my garden, that is what I can see. Two massive shrubs. Every year I think, oh, as soon as they're flowered, I must prune it back. And I think I've only ever pruned these back once in the 10 years that they've been here. So the Weigelia I'm leaving alone because he hasn't flowered yet. But once he has flowered, I'm going to give him a good prune down. I'm going to still keep the two shrubs, but they're going to be, I'm going to reduce the height drastically and keep them much more under control in future. So, with the Spirea, you wait until he's flowered and then you prune him. So that's why I'm doing it now. And if we go down here, I hope we can see. So he's got big woody stems there. And I'm going to take those stems down to about, I don't know, 14 inches. Something like that. And what you can see is, so this is the main plant here, but you can see down here, I've got lots of other little Spirea which have started growing. So the plant is sort of spreading out, it's getting thicker and thicker. And the reason that happens is because if you can imagine this branch, but further down, it would grow out horizontally. As soon as it touches the ground for any length of time, it puts down roots and then it starts producing a new Spirea, which is that one there. But it's sort of dwarfing all of the herbaceous perennials in this area. I can see lots over there as well. Lots of little spindly Spirea plants coming up there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my loppers and I'm going to cut him back drastically and then we'll see what we've got. So I think this is going to be really awkward for me to get the camera in to show you exactly what I'm doing. But I'll show you the length of the branch when I get him out. So just being careful. And nothing else grows in this sort of area here. It's so thick. Actually, I might have to have a saw to cut him. Good grief. Right. Come around this way. No, I can't even snap that with the loppers. Actually, I'm going to bring the camera down and see if you can see what I'm doing here. Right, so I hope that's light enough. You're right down under the canopy with me. So that's the Spirea going all the way up there. So at least you'll be able to see what I'm cutting or sawing. This branch here was that first cut that I made, so I'll pull him out. Because I know they're vertical, but they've just got absolutely no flower on them at the bottom. It's all bare and then a few leaves at the top. No, it's not the plant's fault. I haven't cared for it properly, but every year when it flowers, it looks so beautiful. See if my loppers will... No, I can't cut that with the lopper. I'm frightened in case I break the loppers. No, I'm going to go and get a little saw. Right, so this is my branch saw. Horrible looking thing, but it's very good. Get rid of some of these spindly ones here. Get them out the way. Otherwise I'm going to lose an eye here. And this is what you have to do. You have to sort of work into the shrub. And then what will happen is, once it's all cut back, it'll start putting on new growth, and then it'll flower on that new growth next year. But I'm going to keep it down to about 3-4 foot tall, and a nice shape, a nice rounded shape. And then support the branch. When you're coming to the end, you support the branch, because you don't want the branch to fall down and rip this bark, because that's how infection can get in. And as I say, I want to keep the shrub. I don't want to kill it. There we go. Right. So this is the branch that was up there. Take him away. And I'll just show you these very tall, spindly stems that I've cut off there. So flowers on the top, but very spindly, and there's a whole host of those inside this shrub. So I can clearly see now into there. This is a big stem, and there's a big stem there that's been growing up and crossing over here. And these two here, I mean, look how tight up against each other they've been. And that's not good in a shrub. You want it very open in the middle, and you don't want these branches touching each other, because when the wind rocks it and they rub against each other, they cause wounds, and then you get infection and a disease into the plant. So I'm going to get rid of all these spindly stems in the middle, so that I can see what I'm doing and I don't get poked in the eye. And obviously what I'm doing here is, well, it's basically a complete rejuvenation of a very old Spirea plant. If you just wanted to prune back your Spirea, you wouldn't be doing this. You would be cutting it back to, or by about each branch by about a third, but you'd have to find a YouTube video to show you how to do that. As I say, I've only really pruned this poor Spirea. I say poor Spirea, it's been absolutely beautiful, but I've only pruned him once in 10 years. And then I was very tentative, and I don't think I made much of an impression on him at all. Right, I'm going to cut this. I'm going to saw this one off by here. I think I probably need to stop and have a cup of tea halfway through this. There we go. These. I'm just going to chop these spindly stems down and leave that in, because I'll probably be wanting to either chop them right down to the ground there or dig them out. I don't want new Spirea plants popping up and making this shrub any thicker. It's quite satisfying doing this, actually. That's it. Again, just remove the very spindly ones so that you can see what you're doing. I think I'll take this one off by there. Not very good with my left hand. It's a funny angle. Oh, I'll do it that way. I'm so pleased that I'm doing this now. As I say, I've been every year for about the last 6 years. I've been thinking I must cut those shrubs down at the front. If I just kept on top of them from the beginning, if I found out how to prune them properly from the beginning, I could have kept them much smaller. But to tell you the truth, I was just so delighted that they were growing, and how I was delighted how beautiful they were, that I was frightened to touch them in case I killed them. And I'm trying to free him up by chopping these away with the loppers. I've reached that point where I've started, so I've got to finish. It's quite exhausting. But I know if I just stop now, it could start raining again and this shrub would look horrific. Whoops. For the next week. So I'll just keep going. I'm going to try it with the loppers again. Oh, there we go. That's better. I'm actually kneeling on wild garlic here. Oh, it smells gorgeous as I'm crushing it. So yes, I'll just plant around this sort of what's left of this hideous stump this year with, I'll put some herbaceous perennials in and maybe some cosmos or something, some annuals, and you'll not notice the stump and it'll just rejuvenate and start sprouting. But we don't have to have a big bare patch. There we go. It's another one. Right, we're getting there. Take some more of these spindly branches away. That's it. Oh, I'm very motivated now that I'm sort of, you can see I'm making some headway. And it is getting easier because I've got more room to work in. But you definitely need a bowl of porridge before you set about this task, girls. Ta-da! Right, so I can get that one there with the loppers, definitely. Right, so what we've got now, I put over there, are some spindly stems which are still attached to the main crown of the parent plant, the parent shrub. So I can take them off. And then we've got a stem here which is shooting out from the base at a strange angle. We'll get rid of him. That's it. And the same down here. And then I can see loads of ivy growing in amongst everything. So get that out. So excited to see what this corner looks like without this huge shrub here. Get that ivy out. Always pulling ivy out in this garden. You'll never eradicate it once it's taken hold of your garden, but you can keep it at bay, and it pulls out very easily. Got some lovely Crocosmia lucifer. That's been buried for years at the back here. So there we go. We have a nice, I'll just sort of trim off these twigs here. Got a nice piece of new growth coming up from the bottom, that and a piece there as well. So I'll leave those. All these twiggy bits I will dig out. But then if you look, so this is the main plant here. But then if you come along here, I've got another Spirea growing here. And lots more that's self-seeded down here. So all that will do is make this plant so much thicker. I've got new growth coming up there. And you want the growth to be vertical. You don't want any spindly bits. Say this, you left this bit with leaves on and he was going across like that. He would just flop down onto the soil, put down roots, and you'd be off again. You'd have another Spirea. So I'm going to dig these out here. This is why I left the stems on this one rather than cut it down, because I wanted to see where he was. I was using a little border spade there, but I need this one which is really long and narrow at the end and sharp. It used to belong to my father-in-law. So this is very much the case of do as I say, not as I do. So you should never be digging like this in wellies as I am here. You're just asking for trouble there. So I've just spotted a lovely ice plant here that's been buried for years. And you'll notice behind me the hedge is really patchy there, but as soon as this sunlight gets onto it, that'll just sort of green up, thicken up. There we go. So I'm delighted with this area now. The crown's nice and open, and we have got new growth already, and it's vertical. It's going to come upwards rather than outwards. So in this area here, which I haven't seen for ages, I've got this ice plant. I'll just deadhead these daffs. Loads of wild garlic growing here. I might clear a bit of that out. And I've got some white antirrhinum, because I think it's so dark in this area that it's going to need light plants. So I can sort of put antirrhinums around there. They'll bush out, hide the stump a bit. And I've got some lupins as well, and that's Crocosmia lucifer coming up there, and then big white daisy here, oxeye daisy. Right, so now I'm going to give it a feed of pelleted chicken manure. I'm going to then water it well, and then I'm going to give it a mulch with my leaf mould, which I just, I keep my leaves off the autumn in old sacks around the back of the greenhouse. So I just collect my old leaves. I usually just go over the top of them with a lawnmower and shred them. And this will just give it a bit nutrition after its shock, because I don't think I've ever fed this shrub, poor thing. Then give it a good watering in. I'll probably give it a few watering cans full actually, but I'll not make you watch me water the plant that much. I'll give it a few more. So you water it well, and then I'll give it a mulch around it to keep that water in and stop it evaporating. Not that we've got much heat. So this is my lovely leaf mould. I just collect my leaves in the autumn. So these would have been off autumn 2022. The ones on the lawn and the drive, I just go over with my lawnmower. It shreds them, then I put them in sacks like this, stab holes in the bottom of the sack, and water the leaves if they're dry, and then scrunch the top of the sack shut, and leave it for what, 18 months. This leaf mould is. And the worms will just get to work on that and drag it down. You stand up there. That's it. So I can't wait for tomorrow now. Hope it doesn't rain and I can come out and just start planting up. So it is drastic, but I just think it sort of integrates this corner of the garden at least into this sweep of border all the way around. Whereas I always thought it's like huge shrubs and then the garden starts. So yeah, I'll just give the hedge a little hand snip where it's sort of straggly over there. So this is the time of year to hard prune your spirea. They do say you can do it in the winter as well, but I prefer to do it now, just after it's finished flowering. So that's April. The Weigelia will be flowering in the next month, and then I'm going to cut this one back and that one there because it's blocking out the whole view to that woodland garden there. But I'll not be chopping them back as drastically as this, because you can see with the Weigelia I've got these huge tall bare shoots coming up with a few little leaves at the top there, sort of shooting up out of the main shrub. And then if you look around the back, it's reverting to plain green rather than the variegated. So I'll probably take about 4 foot off the top of it and just have it a nice size, a manageable size and a pretty shape. because I raised the canopy a while ago, so it is planted out under there with GM. So that's it. Job done. Very pleased about that. So I hope you found the video useful. If you've got maybe some huge overgrown shrubs in your garden that need some attention, I would just say go for it. Do a bit of research, find out what kind of shrub you've got, when you should be cutting it back. It might just need a light prune, or it might be a drastic prune. Make sure you get the right one. And I'm really pleased I've done this because it's opened up this whole space, and I can get a lot more sort of flowers planted out here. It'll be a lot more colourful. It'll let the air circulate. The plant will be healthier. The hedge will be healthier. So it's a win-win all round. So until next time, happy gardening. Bye.